This is Eyewitness News with Roger Grimsby and Bill Butel, plus Spencer Christian, Storm Field, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, I'm Roger Grimsby. Here now the news. Actor Rock Hudson dead, his year-long battle with AIDS at an end. He was 59. Hudson died quietly in his sleep this morning at his home in Beverly Hills. He was found dead by members of his household staff. It was just this past July that the word came out that he had something drastically wrong with him. He appeared gaunt and drawn when he made an appearance with Doris Day to promote a television program. It was soon after that that the truth did emerge. Rock Hudson was suffering from AIDS. He went to Paris for treatment, was too ill to accept it. Rock Hudson's movie career spanned more than 30 years. It brought him from obscurity into the bright spotlight of Hollywood, a spotlight he did not want on his private life. Joel Siegel here now with a look at that career.
Roger, his real name was Roy Shearer Jr. He took the name of his stepfather and became Roy Fitzgerald. Hollywood made him Rock Hudson. Hollywood made him over. Hollywood made the image so far from the man. But Hollywood did make him a star.
Hello, Jet. What do you want?
Giant, 1956. Elizabeth Taylor, James Dean, and Rock Hudson. Hudson was nominated for an Oscar for this role, and he deserved the nomination. One of the last of the studio players under long-term contract to Universal International. He was one of the last of the Hollywood stars. When his agent asked if he could act, Hudson said, no. The studio taught him how. And a dozen forgettable features like Bengal Brigade. And Hudson learned.
You know, you've gone out with a lot of men in your time. But this is the jackpot.
Pillow Talk, 3 years after Giant. Hudson didn't want this part. He was, after all, a star. He wanted to be a serious actor. This film made him a romantic lead and a superstar. Through the 60s, only 2 Hollywood stars had more box office clout, Elizabeth Taylor and Cary Grant. And you can see why. He was a hunk, he was a He-Man, he was terrific.
Miss Morrow, why are you so fascinated with my personal affairs?
I'm not fascinated, Mr. Allen. Revolted.
You don't see me going down to the phone company complaining about your affairs.
I have none to complain about.
It figures.
Off camera, off screen, the private man was intensely private. The studio's press machine linked him romantically with co-star Doris Day, but his homosexuality was an open secret in Hollywood even then. To stop the rumors, the studio arranged a marriage. Phyllis Gates, his agent's secretary. The marriage lasted less than 3 years, and Hudson, his friends say, was embittered by the calculating charade. The so-private man became even more private. Last year, he starred in Dynasty, and Hollywood noted how old, how thin, how tired he looked. He knew he had AIDS. In July, he collapsed in a Paris hotel. The French are doing experimental AIDS research, and rumors erupted. Flown back to the United States, the disease was denied. Cancer of the liver, a hospital spokesman reported. Hudson had told an interviewer just a few months before, "My secrets will die with me." He was wrong. And then the star of 60 films played his most powerful role. "Yes," he said, "I have AIDS."
Thank you to all.
I'm not happy that I have AIDS, he wrote less than 2 weeks ago. Burt Lancaster read his letter to a Hollywood benefit that raised millions for AIDS research. But if that is helping others, I can at least know that my own misfortune has had some positive worth. Rock Hudson, almost in spite of the Hollywood hype and the name change and the He-Man looks, was a very good actor. It would be nice if that were all that had to be said. Bill?
Thank you, Joel. Word of Rock Hudson's death, of course, spread very quickly today through the Hollywood community. Paul Dandridge of our sister station, KABC-TV in Los Angeles, covered the story there. He's standing by now on how the news was received when it was announced in the capital of the movie world. Paul?
Bill, as you know, this was coming. Everybody knew it was coming, and still, it was a shock, especially to that world that we call the Hollywood community. He was a professional, he was a gentleman, he was a kind man, the things being said by many people, including Aaron Spelling, who he last worked with on Dynasty. Word got around, people came up to the house, but generally it's been a rather quiet situation. As you know, Hudson was diagnosed more than 2 years ago. It got very serious about 2 months ago when he checked into UCLA after coming back from France. At that time, of course, a source close to Hudson indicated to me that he had about 2 months to live, and that was 61 days ago. It became rather serious, of course, in the last 2 weeks, and in those last 2 weeks there was little they could do for him except make him comfortable. The coroner arrived at Hudson's home in Bel Air at 10:45 this morning as friends gathered and emotions ran high. Rock Hudson had been in and out of consciousness over the last 2 days, and word is he died peacefully. News cameras were kept at a distance as the body was moved into the coroner's van. Towels were used to cover up the windows. At one point, film producer Ross Hunter, crying, went into the van apparently to look at the body and then collapsed. After about an hour at the house, the coroner moved out, but there was trouble with 2 photographers for 2 London newspapers. They were trying to get shots of the body inside the van.
Stay with me, Chris. Don't you have family that you love?
Ross Hunter had talked to Hudson just last night. What did you say to each other?
There was very little to say. What could you say?
Was he in a coma this morning? Could he speak or her?
He was fine this morning. He just went.
When did he go roughly?
Early this morning, I'd say about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I've got to go. Please let me go.
His fans really want to know. Have you anything to say for the fans?
Just that he was the best friend I ever had in the world. And we sort of grew up in this business together.
People have asked, did I ever work with Rock Hudson? What a gentleman he was. Very kind. Very quiet-spoken. Completely unostentatious. I never had the feeling that he had a sense that he was a star.
The word, of course, from Mr. Hudson's people is that he does not want flowers. He would rather see donations sent to the American Federation for AIDS Research. That was the organization that he helped found, and he gave $250,000 to. It was, as you notice, a rather unpleasant scene when his body left here, and a lot of us just wanted to wish that we could disassociate ourselves with some of the other paparazzi who were here. Incidentally, the doctor who was his own personal physician, Dr. Rex Kennemer, was here. He's also the physician for Elizabeth Taylor, and she had a comment through a spokesman today. She said, "I love him and he is tragically gone. Please, God, do not let him die in vain." Funeral arrangements have not been completed at this point. This is Paul Dandridge in Los Angeles, back to Bill Butel in New York.
Thank you very much, Paul. Actress Elizabeth Taylor is in seclusion in Los Angeles, but she did give us this emotional reaction to Hudson's death. As Paul Dandridge said, I love him and he tragically is gone. Please, God, I hope he is not in vain. That was Elizabeth Taylor's remembrance of Rock Hudson. Roger?
The world was shocked last July when the announcement was made that Rock Hudson did have AIDS, but the disclosure also served to create a new awareness of the disease. AIDS crisis centers and hotlines flooded with people wanting more information on the mysterious disease. Suddenly it wasn't a hidden illness anymore.
I think his case has brought many people in this country to realize that this disease is not a disease of the underworld. That people who are beloved, who are wealthy, who can afford the best medical care in the world, nevertheless can die of it.
Ms. Grimm also mentioned the fact that Rock Hudson had donated much of his own personal wealth to AIDS research. The AIDS battle between the Board of Education and the parents of School Board 27 in Queens has taken a new twist. While witnesses continue to testify at the hearing designed to keep one AIDS child out of class, attention is now switched to new guidelines expected in testimony tomorrow.
You're going to hear testimony tomorrow from the chancellor about precautions, extra precautions that are being taken now, because we know that in virtually every city, every school in the city today, there may be students who have the virus.
Meanwhile, School Board 27 is up to something. They had scheduled a press conference for 6 this evening. Now they canceled it. They're in a meeting, an emergency session. We'll try to keep you posted.
And we'll be back in just a moment after this.
With TWA's frequent flight bonus program, your little trips can add up to one big free trip around the world.
No, honey, it's not you. Try something in Navy. You look so tall and powerful in Navy. I like it, but French cuffs? All right. You're the one wearing them every day. I love it. I've never seen you in a bow tie. Perfect. Now that's the way a chairman of the board should dress.
Mother, be serious.
Streets and Company for businesswomen who've made it and those who will at Rockefeller Center and other locations. Do you know where you can get this $3,999 mink coat for just $1,999? A&S. Just $1,999, and you're in full-length mink every day, everywhere. It works with everything. It's warm. It won't go out of style. And A&S will even custom fit it for you. Dark-dyed ranch mink. You can even put it on your long-term A&S chart. Mink. Ink, $1,999. Thursday, Friday, Saturday only. At A&S. Terrific.
Your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Tri-Honda dealers are pleased to announce the arrival of the 1986 Hondas. You're invited to see all the Civics, from wagons to CRXs. See the new Prelude with more power than ever. And don't miss the all-new generation of Accords. But please hurry. Hondas have a way of disappearing fast. In fact, we couldn't even get one for this commercial. Your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Tri-Honda dealers.
Spencer Christian now with last night's lengthy shuffle of the cards.
It was, and maybe even a cutting of the cards. The Mets have drawn first blood in the crucial three-game series in St. Louis and pulled within 2 games of the first-place Cardinals. Last night, the Mets and Cards went scoreless through 10 breathtaking innings, and then with one mighty swing of the bat, Darryl Strawberry delivered the blow that gave the Mets a 1-0 victory. Mets' Ron Darling pitched the finest game of his life. No runs on 4 hits over 9 innings. Got some great help here in this defensive play by Wally Backman, robbing Ozzie Smith of a hit. Go to the top of the 11th now. Darryl Strawberry facing reliever Ken Daly. Strawberry crushes one deep to right field, one of the longest home runs of the year. The St. Louis crowd grows silent, but the Mets dugout is going crazy. Strawberry's 28th home run of the year, probably his biggest, gives the Mets a 1-0 lead, but now they have to hold it. Go to the bottom of the 11th. Mets almost let the Cards back in the game. Tommy Herr hits a fly ball to shallow center field. Mookie Wilson, who was playing deep, comes on hard, but blows the basket catch. Herr ends up on second base on the 2-base error. He would later advance to third. And now, with Herr on third base and 2 out, Jesse Orozco nails down the victory, getting pinch hitter Ivan DeJesus to fly out to Mookie in center, and the Mets win a heart-stopper, 1-0. So here's a look at your pennant race in the National League East. Mets now trail the Cards by only 2 games with 5 games to go in the season. Mets still need to sweep the 2 remaining games in St. Louis, or the Cards will almost certainly win the division. Tonight, Mets turn to their ace, Dwight Gooden, and right now, we will turn to Corey McFerrin live in St. Louis at Bush Memorial Stadium. Corey?
All right, thank you very much, Spencer. Gary Carter with us, and Gary, not too many days ago, you guys were looking at a 4.5 game bolt between you and the Cardinals. It's now down to 2, and you guys can really pull this thing off, can't you?
Well, we sure can, and we're excited about it, Corey. You know, last night's ball game was action-packed. I think that you can't ask for a better baseball game. I think that the 50,000 plus that were watching this game last night got sheer enjoyment, and I think all the other people that watched it on television got the same feeling. And winning a dramatic game like that, and especially when it was a must-need win, you can't ask for any more, so we hope that we can do it the next 2.
You won the must game last night. You beat their ace, John Tudor. Tonight you've got your #1 guy on the mound, Dwight Gooden. Do you think the momentum has shifted? Do you think the pressure has shifted to the Cardinals a bit?
Well, maybe it has a bit. Certainly with 5 games remaining, with a 2-game lead, anything can happen in that span, but I'd like to feel that momentum has carried our way a little bit more because, like you say, we've got our best on the mound tonight, and Whitey made the decision of changing his pitching staff around and putting John Tudor first and then Danny Cox third. So a win tonight would put us within 1. And so when that is there, you're knocking at the door. And that's what's exciting about this kind of a pennant race. When you get down to the final bit, hey, let's go for it.
This, as they say, is what it's all about.
That's exactly it.
All right. Thank you, Gary Carter. Good luck tonight. That's a story from Busch Stadium. Back with more, Spencer, a little bit later on.
All right, Corey, and thank you, Gary. Now, with the Mets making their move on the Cards and the Yankees making a serious run at the Blue Jays, again, Art McFarland tells us that pennant fever has returned to the New York area.
When Darryl Strawberry hit a home run in the 11th inning last night to beat the first-place St. Louis Cardinals, he raised the hopes of all Mets fans, many of whom had thought the season might be over. Now, your die-hard Met fans have been fired up since April. But for now, there are many more people in and around this town who have a serious case of Met fever.
I think the Mets have a great chance. They proved it last night, and tonight with Gooden pitching, no way they're going to lose.
Magic is back, man. We're right here. Get out your brooms. We're going to sweep them.
They've been waiting such a long time. They have been deprived. They've been suppressed for so many years. And when you get an opportunity to root for something and pull for something like this, you just go into it full force.
Business is booming at Shea Stadium. The Mets expect to break their all-time season attendance record this weekend, and there must have been times this season that Mets fans thought that they were in heaven. The Mets have gotten most of the publicity this year, but the other team in town is also very good, the one that plays here in the Bronx. And Yankee fans are every bit as hopeful as Met fans that in the end, their team will come out on top.
Well, I always hope the Yankees have a chance. I've been rooting for them for years, and I hope they do well this year.
The Mets do it, good luck for them, and if the Yankees could stay alive, I'll be happy too. If there's a Subway Series, beautiful.
Well, as any true baseball fan around here might agree, no matter whether the Yanks or the Mets win, New York comes out a winner. In Midtown, Art McFarland, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, and as we said, all of a sudden the Yankees are back in the American League East pennant race. First place Toronto lost last night in Detroit while the Yankees were beating the Brewers at the stadium. Yanks were leading 3-1 in the 8th inning when Mike Pagliarulo singles sharply to right field. Dave Winfield trots home here with the 4th Yankee run. It's a 4-1 Yankee lead. Still in the 8th. This play iced it. Bases loaded. Bobby Meacham lifts a fly ball to center field. Don Baylor will tag up at third. Rick Manning makes the catch, but his throw home will not get Baylor, and as the ball gets away from Ted Simmons, he scoots over and will try to go to first now to nail Willie Randolph. But his throw is wild, goes into right field. Pagliarulo scores. Yanks go on to win it 6-1. So here's your pennant race in the American League East. Yanks trail the Blue Jays by only 4 games with 6 games left in the season. And tonight at the stadium, Yanks will try to keep the pressure on division-leading Toronto when they take on the Brewers again. Jerry Azar standing by live at Yankee Stadium with all the pregame drama. Jerry.
Well, Spencer, I was supposed to have a Yankee player with me, but right now the Yankee players are in a meeting. Are they discussing how to beat the Brewers? No. Are they discussing how to catch Toronto? No. What they're having a meeting about is cutting up the shares of the playoff and the World Series money should they get there. You know, business is business. And it's kind of a shock to some that the Yankees still are in business. A couple of weeks ago, the 8-game losing streak fell 7 behind Toronto. A lot of people thought they were out of it, but the Yanks are in it. Now, last night in Detroit, Tigers beat the Blue Jays. Yankees hoping for an instant replay tonight. Right now, we're going to go to our sister station, WXYZ in Detroit, where Scott Wally has Toronto manager Bobby Cox standing by. Scott, take it.
Thanks, Jerry. It's a little bit nippy here at Tiger Stadium tonight, but I'm here with Bobby Cox, the manager of the Blue Jays and a former star with the New York Yankees back in the late 60s. Bobby, I want to know if you're feeling the Yankee heat.
Well, we know that they're back there, Wally, and, you know, they're 4 back right now, and they were a few more back a few days ago. They're playing great ball, and we are watching the scoreboard just like they're watching it right now, and we realize we're going to have to win a couple ball games here pretty quick, or they're going to be right on us, and we don't want that 3-game series in Toronto to mean anything. We'd like to get everything set up, but we do realize they're behind us, and they're playing great, and we've got to go ahead and win a couple ball games ourselves.
Of course, the buzzword this week has been pressure, and I want to ask you if the pressure of the final week of the season is different than, say, for instance, the pressure of the series in New York a couple of weeks ago.
No, basically, I think you'll find it all the same, really, and we have a very simple philosophy on our ball club. Go out and do the best we can. If it's not good enough, why, we can't do anything about it. But we had better do the best we can. And as long as we're hustling and doing everything we can to win a ball game, I have no complaints.
Of course, you can't count on the Yankees to help you out, but you're in pretty good shape, aren't you? I mean, even if you go 2 games up back home, the Yankees have to sweep.
We would still be in good shape, but we don't want that series to mean anything. That series is completely sold out, I might add, and we play the Yankees fairly good, and we realize they are a terrific ball club. They've got a great offensive team. They've got some veterans on it, and they're led by a great man in Billy Martin.
Okay, Bobby Cox, thanks very much. Good luck to your guys tonight. It's going to be Dave Steve against Jack Morris. And the Blue Jays are going to try to knock that magic number down to 2, Jerry, and hope that the Milwaukee Brewers can do something with the Yankees. Scott Waller reporting for Eyewitness Sports, live from Detroit. Back to you, Jerry.
We're back at Yankee Stadium now. What the Yankees are hoping for is what the Mets hope for when they win to St. Louis. Be close enough so you can control some of your destiny. Maybe they can get within 3 going into Toronto. Spencer, I mentioned that players' meaning in money. I understand even if they win anything, they're not going to share any of it with you and me. Live from Yankee Stadium, this is the Czar. Back to you, Spencer.
Well, in that case, Czar, I refuse to suit up tonight. I'm not even going to take batting practice. All right, in football news, the Giants announced they have signed free agent defensive end Casey Merrill. It is reported to be a 2-year pact for $800,000 a year. And a report surfaced today in a Miami newspaper saying 5 members of the Dallas Cowboys point-shaved games in the early 1980s in exchange for cocaine. Cowboy President Tex Schramm said the report is false. And that's it for now. We'll have more sports later. Bill?
Thank you very much, Spencer. More ahead tonight. Parents in the Bronx angry, demanding to know about a child molester, how he managed to get into an elementary school. And a neighborhood is under guard as police search for a killer who is said to have kept a hit list of his victims. Coming up.
I may look rich, but I'm not. I just know how to decorate rich. Look what I found today. Ready-made blinds by Levelor. They come in popular sizes and are very affordable. They're so easy to hang, so smart looking, and they're real Levelor blinds, not imitations. How to decorate rich when you're not. Ready-made blinds by Levelor.
You don't want your cooking tasting like this, do you? A little dull. That's why you need Accent. This little package can wake up the flavor in your favorite cooking. Look, chicken, hamburgers, spaghetti sauce, vegetables, and salads. Accent enhances the natural flavor of your favorite food. You may not see the difference, but you taste the difference. Accent. It wakes up the flavor in your favorite food.
Looking for a loan? Tried talking to a financial institution? Big, impersonal. Looks like you need a friend. At Beneficial, we're big.
Hi, I'm Fred.
But very personal. You'll talk to the boss when you talk to Beneficial, so there's no committee, no waiting. Everything could be wrapped up in 24 hours.
Congratulations.
Thanks, big guy.
Thank you.
Beneficial. Talk to the manager and you're talking to the boss.
For you, there's only one way to paint, because you really care about what you do. So, for you, we make only one quality of paint, our best. Pittsburgh paints. It always goes on smoothly, covers beautifully, and stays beautiful for years and years. It's the paint that makes painting worth the effort. Pittsburgh paints.
Get fall savings now at your participating Pittsburgh Paints dealer. He's in the yellow pages.
Last night on the 11 o'clock edition of Eyewitness News, we told you about the sexual attacks on 2 young schoolgirls in the Bronx. Well, we've now learned that at least 5 schoolgirls have been victimized. And Tim Fleischer reports that police are providing information on the attacks and on the attacker.
Police confirmed today what Eyewitness News told you last night, that this man is believed responsible for the attacks and sexual assault of 5 grade school-age girls. 4 of those attacks occurred yesterday here at PS 161 in the Bronx. The other incident at an undisclosed school. As we first told you last night, a number of parents who have children that attend PS 161 gathered together, concerned, some even angry over the attacks. And today they came looking for answers here at PS 161. The parents were able to get a meeting with school officials. Eyewitness News was not allowed to sit in on that meeting. But when the parents came out, it was quite obvious that many were not satisfied.
Just like the lady said, the next time they're gonna kill them. Let's kill one of them in there.
Even Donna Norton, whose daughter was one of the victims, cannot understand how this could have happened.
Thank God that she didn't get killed. Okay, I don't want that to happen anymore. Not only here, but all around. I'm concerned about all children.
Police are trying to learn how the man, described as short, thin, dark-skinned, with the part of his hair shaped like an arrow, managed to get inside both schools. They do believe the same man was involved in each attack.
In terms of the description of the suspect, and in terms of the type of action and the dialogue used by the suspect.
To find the suspect, police have set up a special 50-person task force to work on the case. How could something like this happen, and what is to prevent it from happening again? Questions we wanted to put to school officials, but so far they have refused to comment. Eyewitness News even put in a request to talk to the district superintendent, who stopped here at PS 161 this morning. She left without even answering our request. It was obvious, though, school officials had added additional guards at the school today.
But for how long? This is what we want to know, for how long?
Nevertheless, they feel they must organize. And one parent told me, starting tomorrow, they will be helping to patrol the school in hour shifts. And outside, police officers, some of them undercover, will patrol near the school, looking for the suspect. Reporting from PS 161, Tim Fleischer, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
First testimony heard today in the trial of a teacher's aide accused of sexual assault of little children at the Pennant Daycare Center in the Bronx. G.T. Williams tells us the first testimony came from a 5-year-old.
The first witness in the Crocker Daycare sex abuse trial was shielded when she arrived at Bronx Supreme Court today. After a long delay caused by a juror, the trial finally started, but was recessed for lunch when the 5-year-old shyly met questions with no response at all. The child is one of 14 alleged victims in the sex abuse scandal which shocked New York City last summer. She was enrolled in the Crocker Daycare Center when 4 employees were arrested and accused of sexually assaulting the 3 to 6-year-olds. Charges were dropped against one, and today's witness is testifying in the first trial, that of 21-year-old Albert Algarin, a part-time teacher's aide at Crocker. After lunch, the child identified Algarin as her alleged attacker. Prosecutor Nancy Borko used a doll to help her identify body parts. During a long series of questions and one-word responses or shrugs, the child accused the defendant of raping and sodomizing her. She also named 3 other classmates the defendant allegedly assaulted. While the testimony inside the courtroom today clearly accuses Algarin, his attorneys say they expected it and don't believe it'll carry much weight.
She has been led, and she's been rehearsed, and she's been coached on many occasions by the district attorney and his staff. And we believe that in the end, my client's innocence will be shown.
The defense will cross-examine the young witness tomorrow morning. From the Bronx, Chi-Chi Williams, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And police are still looking for a man whom they say had a hit list of people in his Brooklyn apartment building. The wanted man's sister was found dead yesterday, and a neighbor also on the hit list was assaulted. Carol Iavana's in Greenpoint in Brooklyn right now to tell us that police are keeping a close watch on the building because they're afraid he's going to strike again. Carol?
That's right, Bill. As you can see, police officers are still guarding that home while people in the neighborhood watch and wait. Walking down Newell Street today, things outwardly may have looked the same. Classes at a nearby Catholic school in session and neighbors talking on the front steps. But it was not the same. Police were guarding the house where a 62-year-old woman was beaten and strangled to death and another woman assaulted on Monday. This is the third-floor apartment at 39 Newell Street, where police say the body of Genevieve Zalewski was found after police were called to investigate the assault of another tenant. Police say Alice Terrell left her third-floor apartment on Monday when she was hit over the head and pushed down a flight of stairs. She identified her assailant as 52-year-old Henry Zalewski, also a third-floor tenant. When they went to his apartment, they found the body of his sister on the floor and a hit list of intended victims, which included the name of his sister, Terrell's name, and the name of other tenants in this building.
And next was Nowacka, Jane, and me, my brother, and on the list my daughter, Dorothy. She's down there.
And those are the only names that were?
Yes, 6 the names, right.
What do the tenants in there feel? How frightened are they, or how upset are they about
Very, not much sleep.
Police are circulating a sketch of Zalewski, but neighbors who have seen him, and they are few, say it doesn't resemble him.
Doesn't look like him at all. Like people that have never seen Henry, if they were to see anybody that looked like the sketch, they'd arrest the wrong man.
So the police are hoping people will pay closer attention to a photo published today of Zalewski, taken 30 years ago. This one of him in uniform. People in the neighborhood say that Zalewski was very rarely seen in public, although some say he had recently complained of having cancer. Police say they can't confirm that and know very little else about him, and that's part of the problem.
We really have not obtained any additional productive information regarding this individual.
Well, police are still searching for him, and the people who live in this house are concerned that the longer the search goes on, the less chance there'll be that these police officers will stay here and guard them. That's their real concern. I'm Carol Iavana reporting live from the Greenpoint section of Brooklyn, and now back to Roger.
Carol, thank you. And before long on this broadcast, we'll be able to say thank you to Storm Field.
Take a dart, close your eyes, and throw. The odds are that British Airways flies there. British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
Genevieve gives senior citizens a 10% discount on prescriptions. And now they give a 10% discount on my grandchild's prescriptions, too.
That's right. Genevieve gives a 10% discount on prescriptions for junior and senior citizens. Any prescription for a child, under 6 will be filled at Genevieve. No forms to fill out. A prescription is all you need.
Now, Genevieve helps juniors and seniors.
Genevieve, a real drugstore.
If you're planning to build or buy a 1 to 4 family home,
your Anchor bankers can help you make it a reality with an affordable move-right-in mortgage loan. Here is Anchor's current mortgage rate, so start living the home life you and your family deserve. Visit any Anchor Savings Bank office for full details on the loan just right for you. Remember, your Anchor banker, he understands.
That's right, your Anchor banker, she understands.
They say teaching is its own reward. Well, they're right. It's not a job that'll make you rich.
Happy birthday! Joe LaMonica is a high school teacher who's dedicated himself to New York. To all of us.
These kids are just bursting with creative energy and promise. My job's to help develop that huge potential, to channel it.
At the health insurance plan of Greater New York, we think people like Joe deserve to get as much out of life as they give. Like high-quality health care and a health plan that provides it. With affordable, predictable costs and the widest range of services to both protect your good health and care for you when you're sick. A health plan like HIP.
Sometimes you can see it happen. Bang, they understand. They feel the power that education has to break down barriers and just how important it is to their future. To all our futures.
Mr. LaMonica?
John?
Thank you. And happy birthday.
The health insurance plan of Greater New York.
Kind of a Wednesday kind of day, just in between. Neither good, neither bad. Not very much fun, though. I hope tomorrow's a little bit better, Storm.
I wish I could say it was going to be, but it looks like things are not going to be changing very fast over the next couple of days. Frontal system that was expected to pass on by looks at this point like it's stalling across the region. Temperature outside at the moment, well, it's cooling down. Readings about an hour ago at 59 degrees. Wrong, Storm. It's up to 60. Getting a little bit of warmth. Getting hot under this collar. Humidity on the high side at 84% with some showers being found around the city. Barometric pressure in the last hour has held steady at 30.18. Winds right now from the north at 6 miles an hour. Our high for today, 71 degrees, really a leftover from yesterday. The low so far, 59, which we tied in the last hour. Normal split this time of year, 71-55. So it looks like we're actually running just a little bit above normal as overall as an average for today. Records for this date, 90 degrees, 1927, and 39, the record low in 1886. Air quality today was fine, tomorrow also good. Let's take a look at our radar this evening, and you'll see what's going on. This is a large band of showers. You can see what the frontal system is causing. The problem with this front, as expected, we got the clouds and we got some scattered showers. The real problem is that the front is not moving very quickly, and because it's just sliding a little bit offshore, we're getting waves of unsettled weather coming up from the south. Now you can see a big hole down here in southern Jersey where there isn't any rain, or it's cleared up a little bit, also out on eastern Long Island. But as you move into eastern and southern Connecticut, back towards western Long Island, the city, and back into New Jersey, you've got a large pattern of rain, which is very slowly moving in this direction away from us. So we expect not really to see any real clearing, but the pattern will be kind of on and off, maybe a little scattered spritz here and there. Nothing really heavy to be seen, the heaviest up here in northern Jersey. Now let's take a look at what we have as far as our map at the present time. Again, there's the frontal line. Notice the stalled section down here in the south is actually the, well, just say it's stirring up problems for us, because what it's doing is sending little impulses going up this front, and because the front hasn't moved away very much, it is catching all that and kind of spreading it over the region, which means we're going to be staying in clouds and a possibility of moisture over the next 24 to 36 hours. For tomorrow, again, you see the front staying here, backing up as a warm front, coming back on shore, and then tracking little storms coming out all along the eastern seaboard. And for us, that keeps us in clouds. No real clearing, even though this cooler and drier air out to the west of us is trying to make its way in. At least that's the way we're hoping it's going to shape up for the weekend. Again, you can see the pattern in here, light gray, little patterns of drizzle, lots of cloud. You'll see in here a little bit more in the way of shower activity as you move back into Pennsylvania, southeastern New York State. Good news for the reservoirs. Actually, all it's doing is just enough rain to kind of keep us steady. It's not helping the drought situation. It's certainly not hurting us either. Here's how the forecast shapes up. For tonight, going out, might want to have an umbrella handy. It's going to be cloudy, a little bit on the damp side. Temperature's about 52, fairly normal for this time of year. As far as the rest of the day for tomorrow, on and off with the rain. Temperature's about 65 degrees, which is 6 degrees below normal. Hold on to your umbrellas, keep them handy. You probably want to have them around Thursday night, probably into Friday too at this point before any change. We'll have the extended forecast for the weekend and a little bit more information for you a little later in the program. Gentlemen?
John Hinckley, the young man who shot President Reagan, is said to be engaged to marry a patient at the mental institution where he's confined. She's 41, he's 30, she has one arm, he has two. He shot President Reagan, she killed her 10-year-old daughter. Given their mental states, there are questions regarding their competence to enter into a marriage contract. At least it seems he's gotten over Jodie Foster.
Still ahead tonight, the cost of reaching out to touch someone's going up again. And families on Long Island go another day with the lights out. We'll have the latest on the efforts to repair after Hurricane Gloria in a moment when we continue.
You have that way of knowing what to do and what to say. The world looks great when I'm with you. The sky is yours alone. I see you smile, I see you care. Singapore girl, you're a great way to fly.
I'm about to show you how you can fight drafts and frosty windows with this window insulator kit from 3M. You just stick it in place from the inside, heat it with a hairdryer, and the wrinkles disappear. Airtight and clear as glass. Now you can see how cold it is out there without feeling it in here. Look for the 3M window insulator kit in the tartan plaid package. There's just one rule for doing it yourself. Don't do it yourself without 3M.
Now, Renault announces 7.5% on every Renault. 7.5% financing, lower than GM and Ford. Save over $1,000 on Alliance, over $1,100 on Encore. And get America's best small car protection. 5 years or 50,000 miles, plus free required maintenance except oil. And 7.5% only from Renault.
Your AMC Jeep Renault dealers, the right guys.
Now, Sears' biggest hardware sale of the year, with big savings on hundreds of items. This Craftsman garage door opener with 2 transmitters save $100. This Craftsman blower with vac attachment save $50. This Craftsman rollaway tool chester wet dry vac $99.99. And save on this Sears smoke alarm only $6.99. For more big savings, come to Sears National Hardware Sale now.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Your phone bill's going up if you're a New York Telephone Company customer. The State Public Service Commission approved a $227 million rate increase. For your home phone, it will mean an increase of about 6%. Business customers hit harder, 28% more. The average home phone bill will go up to about $1.50 to $26.87. On the bright side, there will be a small decrease in the cost of short-distance calls, such as calling between New York City and Long Island. All this effective October 19. Bill?
They estimate now it's going to take about $100 million to repair hurricane damage on Long Island, and there are still thousands of people there without electricity. Vince Lepar is in Hicksville right now to tell us how some of those people are getting along, also to tell us about a group of parents worried about the safety of their children in the aftermath of Gloria. Vince?
A little more on the parents a little bit later, but you know, Bill, at the height of the storm, there were well over 1 million people without power. And we've just gotten updated statistics from the Long Island Lighting Company. As of right now, perhaps there are still between 300 and 400,000 people on Long Island without electricity. It's been, and by the way, 50% of those people are in Suffolk County. It's been 6 days since Hurricane Gloria, and for those still without power, it's a nightmare that refuses to go away. The people who live on this block in Shirley are still without power, even though in surrounding neighborhoods, power has been restored.
I have diabetes and heart trouble. And I called Loco, and Loco gave me an answer to go to a neighbor with lights. They don't want to know nothing.
Whoever got water is giving us water. But forget that, as fast as I'm getting it, that's as fast as it's going. It's unbelievable. There's no money for food. You can't go to the bank. You can't do nothing. And Loco isn't doing nothing.
On this street in Patchogue, pretty much the same story. 5 houses have power, the others do not.
My daughter, I went to Coram. She rented a place somewhere on the island, and they just happened to have power. So we took showers there. Otherwise, we tried to go to a motel because our insurance policy covers motel. There was no openings.
Of the 16 schools in the Sachem School District, 3 are still without power. And even in those schools without electricity, classes are going on.
The branch was holding up the wire.
and the wire was holding up the branch.
When you have an emergency watch where you have your building blanketed, you have a very good situation. We have all kinds of two-way radios. We have a phone hookup. It's that type of thing. What we've stressed is, hey, if you're not happy or you're not certain about it, then keep your youngster home.
You know, we've been getting a number of calls from parents in the Sachem School District who tell us that they weren't even aware that they were sending their children to a school that did not have electricity. And of course, they're concerned for their children's safety. And despite the safety assurances by the school superintendent, despite those assurances, we had some parents call us, and they told us that apparently they saw some students at the Sachem High School South actually use matches to get into their lockers. Lilco is saying that it hopes to restore full power to Long Island, hopefully by this weekend. Reporting live from local headquarters in Hicksville, Vince Lipari, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Bill?
Thank you, Vince. And did Gloria unglue the utilities in Connecticut? Two Connecticut legislators want an investigation to see if Northeast Utilities and United Illuminating were adequately prepared for the hurricane and what followed. At latest count, 79,000 homes and businesses in Connecticut still have no power, and Governor O'Neill is talking about trying to use part of Connecticut's expected surplus of $52 million to help the cities and towns in Connecticut pay for the big job of cleaning up. Roger?
Relief of another kind for New York State taxpayers who are delinquent. Doug Johnson says a 3-month amnesty program has now been formally announced. It can keep them from paying stiff fines or even going to jail.
Copying 12 other states, tax amnesty is designed to encourage tax cheaters to pay up before January 1st in order to avoid tough new laws that make state tax evasion a felony. The plan was reported yesterday but made official today by the governor.
Having made the law tougher, then we offer people who owe taxes an opportunity to come in order to avoid these tougher laws, to get amnesty by paying up everything they owe.
The city is expected to make $40 million out of its tax amnesty program. The mayor warned that when it's over, the courts have to get tougher.
You cannot just simply fine somebody, because then you've just licensed them and you've just established their rent base. You've got to send them to jail.
What about the honest taxpayer, the people who pay what they owe? Will they be angered by this amnesty? Well, some people think there will be some anger, but not as much as there would have been a few years ago.
I think there's going to be a lot less resentment than you might have found 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, simply because taxes have become so onerous over that time that more resentment is focused on paying the taxes.
Okay, so I don't file all the state sales tax I collect. Who's gonna know?
The state will spend some $2 million on a promotion campaign, including television ads like this, that stress if you don't take advantage of amnesty, you are going to jail.
Nah, Angie's on vacation. She'll be back in 2 to 5.
Call now. States like California and Illinois raised more than $100 million with their amnesty programs. New York State is projecting that only $75 million will come in the next 3 months. When asked about that, the governor said the other states rolled in money they would have received anyway. He said our $75 million is money we would never have received were it not for amnesty. Doug Johnson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Still ahead, a walkout at the UN, and terrorists did carry out their threat to execute a Russian hostage, and now they're making new threats. We'll have the story in a moment.
Your dashboard tells you about almost all the vital signs of your car. Yet most dashboards can't tell you about your transmission. Lee Miles can. Our exclusive $10.95 transmission protection service will replace the pan gasket, clean the screen, adjust bands if needed, adjust linkage, even change the transmission fluid. Just because your dashboard ignores your transmission doesn't mean your transmission should be ignored.
Come fly down to the Caribbean,
feel the sun and sea,
where a gentle breeze of clear blue seas
is calling out to me.
For $259 to $465, American Airlines lets you choose one of 15 Caribbean islands, hotel and airfare included.
We're American Airlines, something special in the air.
I got the same card as you, Coburn.
Huh? Oh,
That's nice.
You don't have to be a big cheese to own a MasterCard.
I know.
The same card you bop around the south of France with, I use to buy wool.
Wool?
So you're not as hotsy-totsy as you think, Mr. Tinseltown.
May I buy you a drink?
Anytime, Jimbo.
MasterCard International.
Hopeful about a new drug and a possible breakthrough in the treatment of AIDS. In Minneapolis, doctors have been experimenting with a new drug called Compound S. They've done laboratory experiments on cats, and Compound S appears to completely stop the AIDS virus from reproducing. That certainly is a promising discovery, but doctors caution people about being optimistic prematurely.
Need many more cats to be sure that this drug has the effect that we think we see in these very limited trials. We have not cured one cat yet of the virus completely, and that's an important thing to remember here.
The researchers hope Compound S will work on human AIDS victims someday soon, but there is no assurance that that will happen. And as we reported earlier, of course, the actor Rock Hudson died today of diseases related to AIDS. Many of his fellow actors and actresses are expressing their grief, of course. Tonight, Josh Howell is with Helen Hayes at a fundraiser for Meals on Wheels, and he has her reaction. Josh?
Yes, Bill, I'm sitting here with the First Lady of the theater, Helen Hayes, and I must first mention that this is, for Miss Hayes and for the people here, an important evening for a number of reasons. As you mentioned, it is to raise money for Meals on Wheels. This is also her 85th birthday. And if you look behind me, you can see a cake there that's towering over us. The event is sponsored by Duncan Hines, among others, and that explains the cake, but it's really remarkable. In fact, we're expecting, I understand, 400 people here tonight, and you're telling me you were more nervous tonight than you have been for an opening night in the theater?
Yes, I was. I was afraid nobody would show up. It's terrible to be the centerpiece of a big party that has for such a great cause, and so generously given by Duncan Hines and the House of Seagram, and I couldn't let them down. I couldn't let Commissioner Sainer down, who has been running, who was the genius behind Meals on Wheels. Oh, I was frightened to death, and of course, above all, I couldn't let down those dear people who were waiting for us to raise the money.
If I may, I must turn to a more serious topic. It seems ironic on a night here to be talking with you, celebrating your 85th birthday, that we must talk about one of your colleagues whose life was cut tragically short at the age of 59. But if you could tell me what your thoughts are about Rock Hudson's passing.
Oh, well, I suppose it's a good thing that Rock has been relieved of the torture he had to go through. But it's so sad. It's so sad. He was the most delightful, charming, warm, amusing man I ever knew. Last time I had dinner with Rock, it was about 2 years ago, and that was out in California. I don't get out there very often, but we had a wonderful evening, and we got on the subject of peach ice cream, which is our favorite. Both of us claimed that as our favorite, and he sent me a recipe for peach ice cream later. And I hate to think that he's not with us anymore. It's our loss, but I'm sure he's released.
One last question, if I may. What do you think this is going to hold for the industry in general? Do you think this is really going to throw a cloud over things?
Oh, you mean
the movie industry, the theater industry?
Perhaps for a while people will be nervous, as they are already, since he was stricken. Yes, they'll get nervous. They panic easily out there, in that industry. The minute there's a little bit of a flurry in the stock market, the things that everybody gets terrified. And I suppose they'll be afraid for a while. But then they're very gallant, too, because they've been raising money like mad, haven't they, to fight this?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. We've run out of time, but thank you for being with us. Reporting live from Tavern on the Green with Miss Helen Hayes. Josh Howell, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you.
Thank you, Josh and Miss Hayes. Roger?
Russia is now learning a Lebanese lesson. One of the 4 Russians taken by Muslim fundamentalists has been killed. These are pictures of the 4. The dead man, a 32-year-old embassy counselor. Death is promised for the other 3. The fundamentalists want Russia to pressure Syria because Syria backs the Muslims who are attacking the fundamentalists in Tripoli. The Kremlin has demanded the immediate release of the 3. But the fundamentalists have added a threat to blow up the Soviet embassy unless Russians there are out of Beirut within 48 hours. Russia's Gorbachev is now in Paris, his first visit to the West since assuming leadership of the Soviet Union. In his meetings with President Mitterrand, he is expected to press for support of his opposition to U.S. Star Wars ambitions. He has 4 days to test his persuasive prowess with a leader of the nation that is just sort of a member of NATO. 6 weeks from now, Gorbachev can try it again in his face-to-face with President Reagan in Geneva.
There was a moment of drama today at the United Nations as delegates from non-aligned and Arab nations to the 40th anniversary session of the UN General Assembly walked out. And they walked out even before the Israeli Foreign Minister Yitzhak Shamir began a defense of yesterday's attack by Israel on PLA headquarters in Tunisia, killing at least 73 people.
We had no intention of attacking Tunisia, although this country has permitted terrorist bases to exist on its soil. We acted against murderous criminals in order to prevent the continuation of their criminal acts.
Tunisia predictably was among those delegates who boycotted the speech by Shamir. It's now demanding that Israel make reparations for the attack of yesterday. Roger?
When we continue, Spencer Christian back with more on the Mets, including Dwight Gooden.
How reassuring to know each night help is here for skin whose firmness has become a thing of the past. Lancome's Forte Vital Tissue Firming Cream works through the night to give you a younger look each morning. French laboratory tests prove skin becomes more firm with Forte Vital. No wonder the French call it Le Lifting de Nuit. Lancome, Paris.
Le Sac Cavalier, part of the exciting Lancome collection, $14.50 with any Lancome purchase.
You'll find it at the A&S nearest you.
Get street smart. Use the public phones. There's a lot of competition out there. Those who get ahead get street smart. They know their most valuable business tools are the 122,000 public phones of the metro area. Get street smart.
He's leaving an hour early. I'll be right there.
3 weeks delivery. Right.
Right.
Wait. Sorry, you should have called.
I should have called. Get street smart.
You should have called.
Use the public phones of New York Telephone.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pecoraro. Do you know that chiropractors can correct subluxations? A subluxation is when one of the spinal bones presses on a nerve. Chiropractors specialize in treating people with pain in the back, neck, arms, and legs caused by subluxation. Call me at the downtown chiropractic office, 406-0127, for an appointment. The examination is only $5. You know, subluxation can be a pain.
Snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays the Audi all-wheel drive 4000 CS Quattro from the swift completion of its appointed rounds. Audi, the art of engineering.
More Mets, Spence.
All right, Roger. The Mets have 1 down and 2 to go in St. Louis. I'm sure the Cardinals thought they had the National League East Division all wrapped up, but last night the Mets dealt the Cards a severe case of celebratus interruptus as the Mets beat the Cards 1-0 in a dramatic 11-inning thriller. So the Mets are now just 2 games out of first place of the National League East, and tonight they've got their ace, Dwight Gooden, going against the Cards. Let's go live now to Corey McFerrin at Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. Corey?
Thank you, Spencer. Superb matchup. Joaquin Andujar against Dwight Gooden. What you might not know, Andujar 3-0 against the Mets this year. But still, anytime you got the good doctor on the mound for you, you got to believe your chances are pretty good.
Everybody agrees. 1985, the year of the doc. Dwight Gooden, best pitcher in baseball, instills tremendous confidence in the Mets, who must win again, and a little bit of fear in the Redbirds, who are suddenly on the defensive.
probably the same type of game, and hopefully we can do the same thing, keep the zeros up there till we can get him out of there and give ourselves a chance to win a game against somebody else.
Not that Dwight wins every game. Andujar is a great pitcher also, but I like our chances a lot better tomorrow than I did tonight.
And if the Mets can do it again tonight, they'll be just one game behind St. Louis. Wildness at Busch Stadium ahead tonight again, I think. Spencer, back to you, guy.
All right, Corey, thank you. Meanwhile, the Yankees are right back in the thick of things in the American League East. The Yanks moved within 4 games of first-place Toronto last night as they beat the Milwaukee Brewers at the stadium. The Yanks were helped out by some less than spectacular play by Milwaukee. 8th inning, bases loaded, Bobby Meacham fly ball to center field. Now Rick Manning will make the catch and fire home as Don Baylor tags up and tries to score. The throw gets away from catcher Ted Simmons, so Baylor is safe. Now Simmons tries to go to first base to get Willie Randolph. Bad throw. Ball goes into right field. Mike Pallirulo comes in to score. Yanks going to beat the Brewers 6-1, so the Yanks are now just 4 games behind the first-place Toronto Blue Jays. And that's it for sports for now. Bill?
Thank you, Spencer. Up next, Storm at the Map again and wanted a ringmaster for the greatest show on earth.
Once again, straight.
In Canada, where this is considered smooth sailing, you don't make a faint-hearted light beer. Introducing imported Molson Light.
For some people, night is more than end of day, and a car is more than just a way to get around in. They own a Daytona. Turbo Z, front-wheel drive, turbocharged. Daytona. It's a smart move with a 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan. And now with up to $460 in savings available on the nifty options you want. Daytona. That's Dodge for fun. Up to $460 savings.
They do.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just
Charles.
Catherine.
Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
No. What is it?
In my heart I have but one.
Share the fantasy. Chanel number 5.
When you want to get away from rock music, when you want to get away from elevator music, come to Light Music at 106.7 WLTW Light FM.
Waiting like a piece of coiled steel to tell us what's going to happen in the weather. Stormfield.
Springing it into action, so to speak, Bill. Later on tonight, if you're going out, have your umbrellas handy. It probably will be a good chance of some showers coming around. It's just going to be cloudy and damp for the most part. Temperatures down to about 52. For tomorrow, don't look for much of a change. The clouds stay with us, so do the rains on and off. Temperatures 65 degrees for a high. In the evening, the same kind of weather continuing. Long-range outlook, staying wet through until Friday, then clearing out Saturday and Sunday, getting sunnier, but staying on the cool side. Roger?
Wanted, someone with authority, someone who looks good in black boots and red tails, someone who doesn't mind working in close quarters with animals. 3 women were among the people auditioning today for ringmaster of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Life is a cabaret, oh, so come to.
I don't think we have any of the winners.
Keep your day job.
Hoping your news is good news. Leave your name with the girl at the desk. I'm Roger Grimsby.
Next on Channel 7 is the ABC World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. I'm Bill Butel. Thanks very much for being with us this evening. Good luck. Be well.